Hi guys, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for popping in. Welcome back to another Planty vlog. This week I've got a lot of stuff going on. I've actually got 2 sick babies, so I'm kind of juggling that while I'm just getting over being sick myself. It's not COVID or anything, it's just your standard cold, whatever, like, yuck. So that's kind of going on. So I have things that I would like to get done this week. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them though, but we shall see. Things that I would like to get done this week are repotting some of my syngonium. They desperately need a repot and a refresh. The soil that they're in is too dense. They've been given a systemic in case they had thrips and stuff, and it's been enough time for that to be absorbed into their system. And I just need them to be in better living conditions as well. That way they can fight off any pests that decide that they are munchable. It just helps. A systemic can only go so far, you know, regardless damage is being done, being stuck there in that super dense potting mix, so I'm gonna change it up. Another thing that I really have to do at some point this week is rescue that big snow queen that I got. It has cold damage and that has resulted in rotting stems and some root rot, so I need to go in and I need to take it all apart, unfortunately, and chop it up and do my best to save what I can. It is very disappointing. I should have known it was too good to be true plant, but I don't know. It's still beautiful. Fingers are still crossed. I also have some planty updates that I want to share with you this week. I've got some cool things going on as far as like springtime. Plants are just popping out crazy new growth every single day, and I'm excited to kind of come up and share it with you. So that is the plan for this week. I have 3 empty boards on my plants boards section. I pulled some off and shuffled some around and did some, you know, reorganizing and whatnot a while back, and those boards have been sitting empty ever since. So I would like to at least pick plants to put there, even if they're not mature enough to actually attach to the boards yet. I want to have that placeholder taken care of, because otherwise I will forget what I want to put where, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of a little scatterbrained like that, so we're going to do that this week as well, and that's kind of the plan. So if you want to play with plants, this is the right channel. Make sure you hit subscribe. Alright, so let's get into it.
Alright, so in my greenhouse over here, I did discover that I had a bunch of spider mite damage. I have killed all of these by spraying them, but a lot of these leaves are just not doing so well, so I think I'm going to end up chopping this plant up. So that's kind of the plan for now. And then I need to unpot and treat these 2 syngoniums back here as well. So we're going to do that today. Alright, now that I've got it out in some better light out of the greenhouse, I'm trying to see if any of these leaves are salvageable. Not really seeing that though. Let me get this out of here and kind of adjust a little bit. Alright, let's see. Maybe some of these can stay. I don't know if this was spider mites or thrips damage. This has been given a systemic and sprayed down, so I know that there's nothing else living on it. It's just really bad. That looks terrible. They ate the heck out of that plant. So it's really useless as far as like being able to produce anything goes. So it's just a drain on the plant at this point. I'm just going to remove these. It's called defoliating is the technical term, I think. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove these. I'm going to chop these stems off as well, because I don't think we're going to have anything but nodes left. And I'm going to go ahead and take those nodes and propagate them as the plan. So I'm just trying to see how far back I have to cut. I'm trying to leave at least 1 node attached to the actual rooted plant, so that way if these nodes don't root properly, then I can go ahead and have a mother plant still. And let's see how many of these are too damaged. That one's gotta go. Here you can see here, this is what it's supposed to look like. Like, it's a beautiful plant, beautiful leaves. I had chopped and propped this before, and that one's a little damaged, but not too bad. Overall, it looks pretty good. It seems like just the ones that were kind of trailing got most of the damage. So I'm thinking maybe they were spreading across the greenhouse and they ate the ones that were trailing on the greenhouse shelves. They didn't really get into the pot too much, which is kind of comforting. So, but all of these are just way too damaged. So I'm just gonna have to chop them and remove all these leaves, and then we'll just have the stem left, and then I'll just have to propagate that. I've had great success propping cuttings from this plant. This is a black pagoda lipstick plant, in case I didn't say it. But I've had great success propagating these in sphagnum moss, so I think that's probably going to be the way that I end up going. I honestly don't know if they will grow back. I've never done this before. So if you have, let me know. Otherwise, it's just an experiment. I'm not recommending. I'm just saying that this is what I feel I have to do with this plant, based on my knowledge and what I've seen before. I'm really hoping that it will just all root and produce lots and lots of new growth is what I'm really hoping. And then maybe I can end up with multiple healthy plants instead of this one really sad looking plant. And it's better than just throwing these away. Like I said, I did give this plant a systemic, so I know that there is nothing else living with it. It can take up to 3 weeks for a systemic to soak into a plant. This has been much longer than 3 weeks since I gave it the systemic. So it's actually doing really great as far as that goes. There's been plenty of time. So I'm not worried about any more pests. I'm mainly just trying to assess the damage and see what I can salvage at this point. Okay, so I am going to throw that away, and then I'm going to spray this down with my insecticidal soap just in case there are any eggs or anything that I missed. When it hatches, it will go to eat the plant, and then it will die anyway, so I'm not worried about it. But just in case, hopefully this would get rid of anything that would be hatching at this point. Alright, so here's my little lipstick plant wet stick propagations, and I'm just going to go ahead and chop them up. I'm going to try to make sure that there's 2 or 3 nodes for each one. I have a feeling it's going to push out new growth from the end tips, but I do want to chop and make sure that each node has the opportunity to root, and then we can kind of go from there. I am going to spray these down as well with the insecticidal soap just in case, because better safe than sorry, and I'm kind of paranoid at this point. It's not a necessary step though. Like I said before, this is totally just an experiment. I have rooted these before in sphagnum moss. They had leaves then. I don't know what's going to happen with these wet stick propagations, so we're going to wing it. I'm just going to try to make sure that every node has sphagnum moss over it, and that way it'll give it the full opportunity to root. I'm hoping it's going to grow more foliage, but if it doesn't, then we'll just have to deal with that as well. It will grow eventually, I'm sure. So, but yeah, definitely, I'll make sure to update you guys, no worries. I always try to update you guys, just like I did with the jewel orchids, you know, when I experimented with that. So, there we go. We got it all. They look happy in there. I'm excited. So I've got to get my little lid. This is just like a takeout container thing. I think it had cookies in it at one point. So, I mean, it's not fancy stuff, guys. But, yeah. Alright, I'm going to go put this away, and then I'll get the syngoniums. Okay, so here is one of my very sad syngoniums. Basically, it got hit hard by the thrips. I gave it a systemic. It's just not very happy in this potting mix I have, so in order for it to best recover, it just needs to be repotted. I kind of explained it a little bit better at the beginning of this video. So that's kind of the plan right now. The first step that I'm going to do is to remove all of the dead and dying foliage, anything that looks like it could be carrying any type of disease or won't actually benefit the plant. It's just all gonna come off. I want it to look all nice and pretty by the time I'm done. There are multiple plants in here, I believe, so I might even separate them depending on how they're doing. We'll just kind of play it by ear, but step 1 is to remove all of this yuck. Alright, and I think we're good. I think I got everything, so we're just gonna unpot this. I am going to reuse this same soil, but I'm going to amend it. We need to take a look at these roots. See how dense this soil is? When the roots wrap around the bottom like this, I actually learned this from Nigel Saunders, so let me give credit where credit is due here. But when the roots wrap around the bottom of the pot and there aren't any in the top of the pot, that means that it's a very dense soil mixture and the plants are actually looking for oxygen. they're searching for the air holes at the bottom of the pot. So they definitely need to be having finer roots up top, especially syngonium in particular. So I'm just checking and feeling all of these roots and trying to remove any excess. Peat soil is a very dense soil mixture. There are 3 plants in here, I believe. So let me kind of divide these up, and then I'll put them in a smaller pot with an airier mixture is the plan here. But I need to get all of this yuck off first. And I'm feeling all of the roots. If they feel squishy, then I know that they're root rotted. And if they feel firm, then I know that they're okay. You can also rub off some of the soil, and if you see white root underneath, it's good. If you see black root underneath, then it's not good. So give me a minute and let me take this apart, and then we can go from there. Alright, that actually came away really nicely and cleanly. So far the roots don't seem too bad, which is great. It's got a lot of peat in the middle there, but and I broke that piece off. That's my bad. But there is a node right there, so I'll be able to root that. That's fine. I'll set it off to the side. I'm trying to figure out. These roots are interconnected. There's a lot of yuck in between here. I'm just trying to clean it out, and then there's peat in the middle here, which I don't like. I keep thinking that that big long root is rotted. It's not. It's just covered in yuck. You can see here is the remnants of a plug that it was in, and then the roots weren't able to come out of it, which is why there's all the roots around it, but there's not any roots coming out of the very bottom like that. So I'm gonna get some soil. Alright, so I got perlite and bark and horticultural charcoal, and I put it in here for you. You missed the big dust cloud, sorry. And I'm just kind of mixing it all in. I just eyeballed it. There was no measurements. I just know what my plants like in my environment. I don't know how to explain it. I'm sorry. But yeah, they like a very chunky, very airy mix. Gotta get oxygen down to those roots. Yeah, that's just how they are. Syngonium are aeroids, so like any other aeroid, philodendron, monstera, etc., they actually like to have air on their roots. They don't mind it. They'll also produce aerial roots, and they'll climb. I'm just gonna pot these up. Let me find one that is gonna have roots to fit this. I'm just trying to use the smaller nursery pots. Pardon me here. I think I'm gonna have to get a bigger pot, and then I'll just do it that way. Yeah. So I'm just gonna pot these up really quick and play some music for you. I mean, you've seen one repotting, you've seen all the repottings, right? So here we go. All right, it looks so happy. There we go, kind of centering it. I will get poles for them later, but I'm very happy with how these turned out. They're super cute. There you go, you can kind of see. Alright, I'm going to clean out this greenhouse. Basically, I just use the insecticidal soap and I spray it down, and that way if there's any little cracks or crevices or remnants of any eggs or bugs or pests or molds or mildews or whatever, it'll get rid of pretty much everything. So then I just go through and I just wipe it down. With these wire shelvings, if I didn't have this shelf liner over it, everything that was on this shelf would have fallen down into the plants underneath, and then I would have had an entire greenhouse affected. So I definitely like having them. And here is the greenhouse all super squeaky clean. Alright, so we got down here all cleaned up. I got up here all cleaned up. Here is that beautiful begonia maculata. And yes, it really does glitter like that. It's so cool. So many new growth points and lots of new little leaves popping out. I'm so excited. These things can get huge. They can get up to 8 feet tall. So I'm so stoked that this is growing. And then that's where I put the black pagoda lipstick plant back there. So just in case. But I have all this cleaned out. There's my salaginella over there. Or my peacock fern, as some people like to call it. Okay, and up here is my philodendron, there we go. My philodendron Prince of Orange, which has a new leaf popping out, so we'll see how that goes. And then back here is my other philodendron, Brawl Marks, which is just, oh my gosh. Look how crazy it's going off. So many new growth points. It's just amazing. I'm so excited. And then I've got a normal philodendron hederaceum. And then a couple little ferns back here, some little tassel ferns and whatnot. And then I've got the peperomia, the watermelon peperomia chilling there. My newest peperomia, just kind of hanging out and chilling. It's so good. I love it. Hanging out and chilling. I'm excited to put it in my new terrarium soon. And then over here, this little teeny tiny crocodile fern was a little rescue. I took apart my other plant. It was dying because it was in a plug. And it's got like 2 little new leafies popping out. How cool is that? Look at that. How cute is that? Oh my gosh. And then I've got my alocasia back here, and it's a alocasia stingray, and I decided to fertilize it and put a systemic in just in case. Got to keep those thrips away. But it popped out 1 leaf there, and then it's got another little, oh my gosh, come on. It's got a baby leaf coming in there, and another leaf there, and another leaf there, so it's in the 4-leaf club now. Yay! And then this is a Scindapsus of some variety. I am not sure which. I believe it's the Silver Ann is what it was sold to me as, but it's hard to tell with some of these. And then it's got new growth coming in down there too. And then back here we've got the lovely variegated Boston fern. And it's just kind of taken over that whole corner back there. Like, he really wants to escape. And I'm probably going to have to let him soon. I'll be very sad to let him out, though. So he's not going to be super happy when I do. And then over here, this is... Here, let me see if I can pull this out. But over here, this is... Whoops, there we go. The Ludicea discolor. It got 1 leaf out and then 2 leaves out. And now it's putting out a 3rd one. And this little guy... Looks like he's finally getting a leaf out there too, which is exciting. And then I've got the golden Epipremnum here. Oh, I'm sorry, the neon Epipremnum, or neon pothos. And this over here is actually a philodendron micans, but it's coming out like this. It's coming out less velvety, which is interesting and different. So, not really sure what's going on there, but it's got a lot of new growth, so I'm pretty excited for that. I was hoping to give this to a friend, but now that it's acting all funky, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Alright, and then over here is my little anthurium seedlings. This is supposed to be a magnificum crossed with crystallinum. I don't know yet. I do know that it has like, oh my gosh. There you go. So you can see each one has 3 leaves minimum now. So that's very, very exciting. A couple of them actually have 4 now, which is very cool. And they've got a little baby glitter flex going on. I just can't seem to get the camera to pick it up right this second. I've shown you guys in other videos though, but I just want to keep you guys updated on this. And you can see the roots are getting little white fuzzies down there. Oh, now you want to pick up the glitter flecks. There you go, camera. You see that right there? Just a little bit of sparkle. Very cool. But the white fuzzy roots on the bottom there, that's a sign of maturity, which means I'm going to have to pot these up in a better mixture than just sphagnum moss soon. They're going to need more nutrients and whatnot to grow bigger. So just kind of reaching that time now that they've got more mature leaves on the way and they've got extra roots going on. It's very cool. So over here, let me kind of pull these guys out a little bit. Okay, so this is the Philodendron Dark Lord, and this is the newest leaf that it just popped out. And here we go. So I've got it all, I did this in another vlog, not Whoops, I'm knocking over stuff. I did this in another vlog. This is a Philodendron Dark Lord. I am just trying to get it to kind of attach to this pole a little bit to kind of train it to go up. It pushed out this leaf, which was very tiny, and I was concerned that it was gonna keep pushing out tiny leaves. So we ended up putting it on a pole, and it gave us this bigger leaf. Now it's pushing out another leaf. So I'm pretty excited about that. Seems to be working. It seems to be happy. You can see it's got these little red roots down here. Kind of reminds me of the Philodendron Pink Princess, because these roots are kind of pink too. So I don't have a Philodendron Pink Princess. They're not really my jam, but the Philodendron Dark Lord, oh yes, I cannot wait for this bad boy to get big. I'm so excited for that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let me grab another one for you here. All right. So this is the Philodendron Brantianum, and then I got 2 or 3 little cuttings of this, and then I rooted them all up, and then they've been in sphagnum. We put them on a pole a couple videos ago. I don't remember exactly. So this is kind of what it looks like, and they are starting to attach. I don't know if I can find some roots there. There's some roots. So they're slowly starting to get there, which is awesome. They're kind of reaching out. I'm going to have to... it's got another new little one coming in there. You see that? It's doing the little Philodendron glass slipper thing. There you go, like a Cinderella slipper. Trying to squeeze in a foot. This is very cute. And then it just unfurled this new leaf. It's not even hardened off yet. So you can kind of see it's... there you go. It's got a little bit of a red to it. And it's very light. It's got the silver already, you can see. So, but it's doing quite well. I'm very excited for this. All right, this is another one. This is a Philodendron Painted Lady. It does have the reddish pink stem, and then it's got all these aerial roots going on in here. I've got it on a little pole. Eventually we'll get it on a big pole. Oh, I love the leaves. There is another one out there. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice this before. Look at that. Look at that variegation. Holy cow. It's pushed out multiple leaves. I didn't notice that before. That's so cool. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Check it out. I didn't know it could do that. Whoa. All right. Excuse me a moment. I need to have a minute. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. All right. I appreciate your patience for that minute. I just wow. Okay. And then here is what the Painted Lady normally looks like. So you can see, even on this half, you can kind of see it's got like painted splotches. This variegation on this side is not normal. I've never seen that before, ever. So I'm going to ask some friends if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hopefully it's a good thing. It's really cool regardless. But it's got a pink stem here, and then it's got a new little leaf popping out right there. And the foliage is getting bigger and bigger. If you notice, like, it was that size. And then it's totally gotten bigger and bigger with every leaf since. So I'm pretty happy with that. I just can't wait to see these guys climb more. Like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I did want to note that there is another philodendron out there that looks like the Painted Lady. It's harder to find, but it doesn't have this red stem. I will post the... I don't have a picture of it, but I'll post the name of that one. So if you happen to find one that looks like a Philodendron Painted Lady like this, and does the Philodendron Painted Lady upright thing like this, but it doesn't have a red or a pink stem, it has a green stem, then it's that other plant. Just for, you know, just for the sake of being able to identify your plants. And if you're ordering plants online, you don't always know exactly what you're getting. So I just find it helpful to kind of include some of that as I figure it out. So, but yes, very exciting stuff. Loving it. And this is the Philodendron Camposportuanum that I chopped up. Not really doing very much. Kind of waiting. We shall see. I don't know if I should air layer it or chop it a little more. Maybe I should just unroot it. think this leaf is passing on. I think I might just have to chop it up and do like a little node thing with it. I don't see anything else happening with it down there. So we'll see.
Alright guys, I think I'm going to be done for today because there's just a lot going on and we did a lot today. So I think I'm going to go make myself some hot cup of coffee and I will see you tomorrow. Bye! Alright guys, welcome back to another Planty vlog day. Sorry, my hand's kind of shaky. I'm holding the camera today and it's not doing so well. My bad. Yesterday we went and we repotted all of those syngonium, which was really awesome. I'm glad I was able to get that done. But what I need to do today is take care of that snow queen. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And honestly, I'm dreading it. It's going to be a very long, exhausting process. I'm just really hoping that I can save it, honestly. I'm really sad that it got cold damage and now we've got to take care of that, but it happens. It really does. All right, let's go save a plant.
Okay, so the first thing I'm trying to do here is just get this hanger off. Like, it's stuck on there, but you can't pull the plant out and unpot it with this hanger still on. So you have to kind of push down and pull the little clip out, and then it unhooks from the pot. I think most people know this, but in case you don't, or if you're new, then this is how you get those off. And then you can actually add the pot to macrame hangers and whatnot and hang it however you want. You can actually add these little clip hooks to other plants as well, like other pots. They'll work for some of the other ones. So yeah, it's kind of just a little bit of fun knowledge. Next, I am going to go through and try to pull out all of the obviously dead and dying stems here. So I'm not going to show you all of the rot, but I do want to show you a couple of ones. This one, for example, there is no node. You can see that the black has gone all the way up. It is actually blackened and rotted out the new leaf before the new leaf has even unfurled. So this entire section is just a goner. It's just trash, unfortunately. And the root is clearly rotted out. So that is unfortunate. I'm just going to make a pile off to the side because there's going to be a lot like this, unfortunately. Let me try to unpot. I don't see any rotted roots out the bottom, which is kind of a good sign. And then it actually does have some good roots, but you can see where the roots have blackened, where it's brown gold color, and then there is blackened roots next to that. That is all root rot, I can tell you right now. It doesn't smell terrible, but I can see it, and I am wearing gloves for this because I don't want all the rot to get under my fingers. I don't know if there's anything else in this soil that helped to rot the plant. I'm just assuming it's cold damage based on the symptoms, but it could have been something in the soil. So this is one of those cases where I am going to wear gloves to repot just in case. Normally I like to feel the soil, but you can see I'm feeling all of these roots here, and you can see, let me get it a close-up. This is all root rot. So if you haven't seen root rot before, you've just heard people talk about it, this is exactly what it looks like. They're blackened roots, they're soft, they're squishy, they're mushy, like it just peeled apart, like there was no resistance there. It's yuck. So I'm just going to try to remove all of the soil as much as possible. I will be rinsing these roots off when I'm done. And then we'll see what we have to work with after that. Anything that has viable roots, I am going to take downstairs and rinse off. Anything that has no roots and is obviously gone is just going to go right in the trash. So I am going to fast forward through this bit for you and play some music, and you can just kind of enjoy. And then when I get to the good stuff, I'll stop and we can chat again. Okay, so I did want to take a minute to show you. I got a lot of the soil off, not all of it yet, but I can see some obviously rotted roots right here. The root tips got root rot, or these parts of the plant were frozen up top and it spread down to the roots. Either way, all of these stems with brown you can see like the root is all rotted. That stem is completely rotted. That node is gone. I'm gonna have to chop what I can off of it. Even if it has other good roots, though rot is like gangrene in a human leg, it will spread. So just kind of think of it that way. You are going to have to remove anything that is rotted. And it's just going to be kind of a chop by chop basis. Obviously, if it's brown on the outside like that, for the most part, unless there is like soil staining, it's definitely rotted. With these roots, I can see that they are obviously rotted as well. Healthy roots should be white and firm. They should not be black and squishy. So that is an unfortunate thing. Also, if you feel a stem, you can see that it's kind of squishy. Like, those are all signs of really bad root rot. And once a node is gone, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to grow anything from it. It won't grow roots. It's not going to grow any more foliage. Nodes are basically the foundational life blocks for any kind of plant. So if you don't have that, you're basically out of plant, unfortunately. So some of these nodes are going to be good and some of them are not going to be good. And I'm just kind of digging through this some more to try to divide out more plants and figure out what is salvageable and what is not. I am going to go in closely and try to cut out what is rot and save every single node that I possibly can. It's going to be very long and tedious. I'm hoping some of this is just soil staining, but I'm 95% sure majority of it's rot, unfortunately. Yeah.
Alright, so now I've got to take it down to the bathroom and kind of clean off the roots and figure out what's going on with that. It's a lot easier to see what's going on with the roots when they're all cleaned off. And it's easier to see what is black and rotted and what is not rotted if we can get all of the darker soil off of the roots, if that makes sense. When I repot them, I'll definitely try to be repotting them in some type of a spag mixture over a soil mixture. That way it'll be way easier to figure out what's going on if I have to unpot it and they continue to suffer. So, let's go take these downstairs. I gotta put them in the bucket.
Alright, so I made it down to the bathroom. I brought them all down. It's a whole bucket full of cuttings. I am using warm water. I'm not using cold. I'm not using hot. I don't want to shock them any more than I already have. I don't want to cause any more damage. I am also going to gently shake the roots in a puddle of water at the bottom of the bathtub, and that's how I'm getting the soil off. I am not roughly scrubbing. I do not want to create more rot. So this is kind of what it looks like here. You can see a lot of rotted roots, but we're going to take them upstairs. We're going to chop and figure it out. Okay, so I found this pot. This is the pot that I'm going to want to put it in. I still want to have my big full hanging basket. That is still the goal, and I'm going to do my best to make that happen. I am determined. So I got a fresh basket because I have to sterilize and clean the other basket. It had rot in it. I cannot reuse it without reintroducing the rot back into my plants. I also have a soil mix over here. So I'm going to start sorting all of these out and then we'll get them potted up as we go, is the plan. I also did want to let you know that I totally threw that old soil away because sterilizing it, I mean, you can boil it and whatnot, but it's kind of a pain. So, trash. I didn't want to accidentally reuse it. So this is the fresh mix that I have right now. It's bark and sphagnum and perlite. I think I have some charcoal in here and a little bit of worm castings as well. I didn't have very much worm castings left, actually. So I'm just sprinkling it on the base of this pot. And then we'll add the good ones that we want to plant in there with roots and good nodes and no rot in there, and that's the plan. Alright, the moment I've been dreading. We have to look at every single one of these and chop in between the nodes and try to get as much rot as possible out. So, I don't know if I'm going to be able to save any of these. At least 3 of these nodes look ridiculously rotted. I have my little clippers here. I have sanitized them. I have isopropyl alcohol on the side. You can see that the rot is just at the base there, but it's basically the the entire node. So you can kind of see the difference between where the rot is and where the rot isn't. This is all rot. So think of it like gangrene. It spreads through the stem just like it would a human leg. It's just infection, essentially. So I will try to not chop up this entire node, but we'll see. Yeah, you can see on the base there in the right hand corner, the rot has already spread to that node. It will totally encompass the entire thing. So this node is not usable. It's not viable now, unfortunately. So we can try the next one, but I see rot at this node right here already on the outside, so I have to throw this entire thing away. 3 whole leaves, just trash because of the rot. Yeah. But you can see there's just no salvaging. The nodes are the little bumps, by the way, in case you didn't know that, in case I didn't explain it already. So, and then the internode is the space in between. I'm gonna see if there's any way to salvage any of this, but I doubt it. And that's just the game. Yeah, it's trash. Alright, so here is another one where you're just trying to kind of see like where the rot is. Like it looks like there might be some rot there. You have to kind of feel it. Is it stained from the soil or is it actual rot? I'm going to be cutting in between these little internodes. They're very tightly spaced together. It does not look like there's any rot in there, so I think we're actually good on that. Some of these nodes are going to have no leaves and they are just going to be rooted wet sticks essentially. But another thing, when we're cutting nodes so small like this, they can rot and then it'll just be wasted. So like I have this little node right here with a good root, but I had to check and see if it was rotted in there, so I had to chop it. But this one is a rooted cutting without any rot. I am going to remove this leaf just because it looks really yucky. It's the yellow. When it's got the yellow on it, it always concerns me because I'm worried that it's fungal or bacterial, even though like 90% of the time it's not. It's just me being paranoid. And then this has a lot of rot on it too. And this is essentially what I'm going to be doing for like the next at least 30 minutes. You just kind of feel it, you can scrape, you can see that the rot is underneath there. And then I am trying to clean my shears in between. So here's a node here. Let's see if there's rot. See, this whole thing is trash, unfortunately. You can see all that is rotted. 2 nodes, 2 perfectly good nodes gone. You see the black mushy root. Yep, that's totally root rot. And then just trying to check in between here. The brown that is on the sheaths where the leaves are coming out, that's actually normal. That is an Epipremnum or pothos trait. That's totally okay. I'm more worried about what's on the actual stems. Also, white leaves like this can burn. So even the black color on the foliage, especially if it's on a white part, is not necessarily a sign. It was what I was seeing on the stems that made me the most concerned, because that is a perfect example. So here it's a little hard to tell too, because when you get a peat-based soil, it can dye the roots. So unfortunately, you just got to keep cutting until you're sure that you don't have it. You can also use like a cinnamon and rooting powder type of deal. Use cyclamen cinnamon. I think it's the most expensive cinnamon. You can't use just regular cooking cinnamon because the way it's processed, it gets rid of the antibacterial properties. But you can use that to kind of prevent the rot as well. If you're really concerned about it, you can also use hydrogen peroxide. I have successfully defeated root rot with that. Keep in mind that it can damage the plants though, and scientifically I have no idea like why it works. Science, all the studies have said that it's not gonna work. It does more damage than good, but it has successfully worked for me. So you do what you will with that information. I'm not saying go get a Monstera alba or Thai constellation and shove it in a bottle of hydrogen peroxide, but I'm just saying that if you want to treat some of these little nodes with a little bit of it, it might work, it might not, but what do you have to lose, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this because I've chatted a lot and I just need to get this going. Good news is we do have some of the plant that is salvageable, you know, so I will give you an update in a few minutes. Alrighty, so this is the pile of everything that's trash, everything that's rotted, every node that's destroyed, all the foliage that is completely kaput. That's that pile. And then over here we have the pile of what can be potted up, where it's nodes with actual good roots. And then in here is where I put my little wet sticks that are rooted and all of the ones that are just nodes with foliage that need to grow roots. So now I have to sort this out. Okay, I got this all potted up, which is great. It's all happy hunky-dory in there. I'm going to add the little hanger and then I'll show you its new home in just a little bit. And then this is how you add the hangers back on. I don't know if anybody ever showed this part, so I just kind of wanted to make sure that I did, just in case if you didn't know, you do now. I don't know. It's silly, I guess. Okay, and now these guys, I just have to sort out. Okay, you've got roots, you don't have roots. You've got a leaf, you don't have a leaf. I just kind of ran out of space. And now, of course, I'm like second guessing. And some of these are going to make it, and some of them won't. Like, none of these are a guarantee. So, it's really just a toss-up. I don't know. I guess I'm playing the gambling table with these guys right now, I guess. So, which, I mean, it's fine. I have some that are going to be doing good in that pot that I potted up. These are just going to be extra ones. I'd rather not waste them if I don't have to. I know that these are some people's wish list plants, so if I can save them and be able to share them later, that would be fantastic. I don't know, just trying to kind of sort them out, and it is a hot mess. It would have been easier just to throw it away, but I don't know, it's really pretty, so I want to be able to share it. These are all the wet stick ones, so I'm going to get some sphagnum moss for that and try to set up some type of a box. Those ones I'm going to pot up. These ones are going to go in water. So the ones with no roots, I'm just going to root them in water. And then I've got my little jar of water right here, and I'm just going to kind of put them in. I think I'm going to put the whole thing in the greenhouse. That's the plan. And then I will pot up in sphagnum, those other ones back there. Alright, so I've got my pre-dampened sphagnum here, and then I don't want it to be too wet, so what I'm going to do is just kind of wring it out, and then I'm going to put it in the bottom of the pot, and then I want to kind of put their little roots on top of that. I am tearing up the sphagnum because if you tear it up and the roots attach to it, it's so much easier to remove, and a lot of times you don't even have to worry about removing it. I am also not tamponing it down too much because that's how you add more rot. You've got to have oxygen to these roots. Oxygen is what's going to help defeat that infection if there is any left in there. So it's going to put a damper on all that. And then I'm just going to add more sphagnum and kind of put it around. And then I'm going to put this in the greenhouse with the water propagations as well. Alright, so I've got my little prop box here. I don't think this is gonna fit. Yeah, no. It was worth a try though. Alright, anyway, I've got my sphagnum here. I don't have a lot of sphagnum left, so I am gonna kind of put it at the base here. And then I'm gonna use these pots off to the side to kind of divide it and keep it all contained. Alright, so I was able to get them all tucked in here, and then I'm just kind of making a barrier over here because I didn't want the sphagnum to kind of spread all over the place. So, but they're all tucked in, nice and cozy. I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen with these. You can see right over here, there's so much new growth popping out of this node. That'll be cool to see. I'll be sure to update you guys. And then I'm going to put this in the greenhouse here. So give me just a second. So I had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out like where to put it. I ended up putting it here just on my grow light. I don't want to lose the variegation, so I'm trying to give it as much light as possible. But I don't want it to downsize, and I don't want it to burn either. So that's just kind of what I'm working with here. So I just want to make sure that it's not going to get burned, and I want to make sure that it's not going to be sitting in water, and it's going to need light to keep that variegation, or it's going to be reverting. So that's just the unfortunate bit about it. But I think here will be a good place for it for now. There you go. Here's going to be a good place for it now. If I put it in direct sunlight, I'm worried that it would burn and have more damage, but I'm hoping that these bigger leaves will stay kind of big, just being directly under this grow light. It's made everything else so much happier, so I definitely want to make sure that it stays happier. I did end up putting the cuttings in here. Let me show you. So I did end up putting the water rooted cuttings here in the greenhouse. There is a grow light on the other side there, and then there's one like directly here as well. So it's getting quite a bit of light there, which is great. And then here is the rooted ones that I put in the sphagnum. I just have them right next to the other ones there. I'm hoping that the high humidity is going to help them root and recover faster. So fingers crossed. Alright guys, so it is a new day, another Planty vlog day. It's been 2 days since I last filmed. I think it's been a little bit, but I have lots of new growth and I wanted to make sure to share it with you guys in this video. I know I shared my greenhouse a little bit earlier in this video, but I wanted to go around the room and kind of share a little bit more. So let's look at some plants. I had to come over here to this Stratoscantia that we repotted, and we had chopped it on the end not that long ago. And you can see new growth is popping up at these points, and it's not just there, it's happening over here, it's happening right over here, so it's making it a more full and bushy plant. We can chop it back further if we need, and then all of our little cuttings over here are rooting and pushing out new growth over here as well. Very exciting. These ones are doing really well as well, so just wanted to keep you guys updated on that. Also wanted to show you that spring is truly in the air because there is a lot of new growth on the Hoya. This is my Hoya australis. Sorry, it's kind of backlit here, but it's got a whole new thing coming in there. So that's exciting. And then down here we've got, whoops, new little growth popping in there. Another one over there. Sorry, it's getting kind of, this is my Hoya Crimson Queen. She's pushing out new growth. This is the Hoya Crimson Princess. This is a reverted strand, and that's what's pushing out this new growth right here. And then over here is the Hoya Crinkle 8 with its little abs. It had a little dead piece of foliage here, dead piece of stem. So I took that off, and hopefully that will stimulate some new growth there. And then we've got new growth here down on the Hoya Pubicalix. These just came in. Little strands of new growth popping in over here on the Hoya macrophylla, so very excited about that. You know that when the Hoyas start growing that there is actually good things coming. We've got these little guys over here popping out their new little baby leaves. I love it when they give new little baby leaves. Look how cute. Okay, I promised I wouldn't baby talk the plants. I'm sorry. But it's awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, you guys, check this out. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Do you see that? This Hoya Waitii absolutely detests me. Like, we have been struggling to the point that I thought this was gonna die, so I took a propagation cutting of it just in case, because this hated me so much. And look, he's got new little baby growth there and pushed out this whole new little baby leaf. Look at that. Oh man, that is so cool. That's epic. Look at that. He's so neat. That's awesome. I'm so excited about that. And excuse the mess. No mess. Only awesomeness. Oh, exciting. Exciting stuff. Leaf coming in on my little colocasia. Leaf coming in on my Cebu blue. Plant propagations are all doing really well. I'm actually going to be potting them up probably in the next couple of weeks or so. This is from a previous video, all of these. Alright, so over here is where I hung the Marble Queen, and then over there is a new project I'm working on. And then these guys down here, I really wanted to show you what's going on with this Philodendron Burl Marx. It's actually got floral nectaries, and they're blatantly obvious, so I had to show you guys. Check it out. Look at that. That is so amazing. And this is a totally normal process. So if you see this on your philodendron, it is totally normal. These little teeny tiny yellow spots are also a continuation of the floral nectaries. So if you see these in this kind of pattern as well, without any browning or anything, that's totally floral nectaries. These little brown spots on the stems are also nectaries. It just helps the plant with the processes and whatnot. It's really amazing. So over here really quick, these are the two that are staying. They've been here for forever, but I needed to come up with 3 for here. So this golden pothos, and then the mandula, and then I'm gonna do this syngonium white butterfly. And then it's got a new leaf coming in right there, which is exciting. I love the variegation on this plant. And then it's got its little aerial roots coming in down there already, so it'll be on this board soon enough. And then I had to show off this beautiful new mandula leaf. Look at that. You see how they normally come in with this speckled variegation, but this one, it came in all white with just a little bit of speckling. I'm sure it'll get darker and there'll be more speckling later, but this was too cool. On this Scindapsus trubii moonlight cutting, it rooted. It took a very long time, but now it's got new growth coming out slowly but surely. Had to bring my Philodendron Brazil down. It's on like a hanging thing, but I wanted to show you here. I'm hoping it's picking up. It's like an orange peachy cream color, this new leaf that's coming in, which is very, very exciting. Because when the stem and the foliage starts coming in that orangey peachy color, it's actually totally normal. It's just a sign of maturity and then it's getting enough light, which is awesome. I'm so excited. This is just such a look. Look at these. Such pretty variegation. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I hope that works. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. I've got another video coming out Tuesday, so make sure to subscribe for that. I am going to be, I don't know which video is coming out Tuesday. I have one video where I'm building a peperomia new terrarium that will be coming out on either this Tuesday or next Tuesday. And then I've got another video where I go over my plant room and how it started out over a year ago and how I have changed it, how I was able to afford everything, and how it is a fairly inexpensive process, and just kind of some tips and tricks if you're planning on building your own plant room. So that will be coming out soon as well. And then I've just got a whole bunch of plant chores for next Saturday's vlog. Just lots of good stuff, guys. Anyway, I'm on TikTok and Instagram. More TikTok than Instagram these days. I'm sorry, guys. Instagram's just not winning me over anymore. I don't know what it is. But definitely check me out on either of those platforms, whichever works best for you. Comment down below if you have any questions, comments, advice, like especially about that philodendron painted lady. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, I will let you go. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!